Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NyteTime podcast. That's NYTE, not your typical energy. My name is Matt Higgins. I am the podcaster for this show. Got a lot to talk about. Superbowl just happened this weekend. I spent it with my parents and my girlfriend and our daughters. Had a really good time. It was an awesome game. Obviously, as everybody knows, the Chiefs won at the end, basically at the end of overtime. It was a very good game. I, of course, was rooting for San Francisco just because their quarterback was from Iowa State. That was the only dog I had in this fight. I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan, so we've learned to live with disappointment and have to look for surrogate teams to support in the playoffs. Having said that, like I said, it was a good game. Went right down to the wire. San Francisco really should have won. It's the tiniest mistakes that cost them. That extra point that they missed pretty much cost them the game. Now, I don't hold the kicker solely responsible. Shit happens. I think up until that point, he hadn't missed any extra points. So, but there were obviously many other instances in the game that could have turned the tide. And in the end, the Kansas City Chiefs were just too tough. They were too consistent. They made the most of their opportunities when handed to them. So, congratulations. They've won 2 in a row. I think they've been to the Super Bowl, 4 out of the last 5 years. So, having said that, it wasn't a conspiracy that they got there, nor was it a conspiracy that they won. You guys know I use the word retarded very liberally. I spread it around just because I feel it's the best word to describe the way some people think. And when I use the word retarded, and I've said this before, I separate that from mentally handicapped people, from mentally challenged people. Those people were born with their deficiencies. They had no say in it. They had no choice. Or some people suffer from, brain injuries, and then nothing works the way it was supposed to, or the way it was intended to work. Those people are not retarded. Now, I understand back in the day that word was used in a derogatory way towards people who didn't have a say in it, who were born that way. I separate that word from them. To me, retarded means you are deliberately dumb in a way that is almost unexplainable. For instance, the perfect example is somebody who believes that the Super Bowl was scripted and it was a conspiracy because the liberal media wanted Taylor Swift's boyfriend's team to win, and Taylor's going to endorse Biden. And here's what was supposed to happen. The Kansas City was supposed to win, and then Taylor Swift was going to come out at halftime or at the end of the game and put her weight behind Biden. And it didn't happen because it was horseshit, because it's retarded. And everybody who believed it was retarded. Kansas City didn't win because they were scripted. They won because they were the better team and they took advantage of the mistakes that San Francisco made. That's just how the game works. So, yeah, it was all the horseshit was retarded. The game was great. Were there some screw ups by the refs? Yes. Were there some screw ups by the teams? Yes. But all in all, I was on the edge of my seat for probably the last half of that game because it was that good. So, one of the things that happened while I was in the room with my dad watching the game is he commented on Taylor Swift and how he was tired of the camera panning to her every once in a while for 5 to 10 seconds. And I've taken on a more adversarial tone and approach with my father as I get older, because as he gets older, he's becoming more and more conservative and Republican, and more. I don't want to say jaded, but he's succumbing to the horseshit brainwashing that happens when people get older and Fox News gets a hold of them. Because before that, there wouldn't. I don't think my father ever would have said anything like that about Taylor Swift. But I think because he does listen to Fox now, and he listens to all the horseshit shows like Mark Levine, whatever that douchebag's name is. Suddenly he cared, and I was like, "Why do you?" And I asked him, I said, "Why do you care if they show Taylor Swift or not?" Well, I don't want to be forced to watch her. I don't want to look at her. I'm tired of them forcing her on me. I'm like, they're not forcing anything on you. I said it. I said it flat out. Taylor Swift is the most famous and prominent person in that stadium right now. So yeah, they're going to flash to her, especially since she's dating one of the stars on one of the teams that's playing in the Super Bowl. So she's the most famous person there right now. And they're going to pan to her once in a while. And he's like, "Yeah, I know." And I was like, I pushed him like, "Why do you care?" And he didn't have an answer. He didn't have a good answer. And that's the problem. When you force people with stupid views to explain their position and defend it, normally they can't. I didn't care that they showed Taylor Swift. I like some of her music, and that's it. She's not my favorite artist. She's not my least favorite. I was watching the game to watch the game, but it never once occurred to me that, oh my God, they're taking the camera off the field and putting it on Taylor Swift. Like, who gives a fuck? At the end of the day, who gives a fuck? If they're not showing her, they're showing somebody else that still isn't on the field. So if you're pissed off that they're just not, they're showing something that has nothing to do with football, hey, unless the camera is on the players or on the field watching play, it's always pointed in the stands looking at somebody else, flashes here and there. That's just the way every game is. So who gives a fuck who they're pointing it at? It makes no sense to be mad about something like that unless somebody told you to be mad about it. If you were capable of critical thinking and able to just sit down and watch the game, it shouldn't matter. I don't care if they showed her 100 times. I wouldn't give a fuck as long as the camera was on the field when play was in action. That's all I care about. I don't care about pregame fucking bullshit. I don't care about halftime bullshit, except a couple of years ago when Eminem did his show. That shit was fire. It was awesome. Otherwise, I don't care about the halftime show. Like this here, I don't care who Usher is. I never listened to his music. It was the least anticipated halftime for me ever, and so we didn't watch it. And I don't care about the post-game shit. And I don't care about interviews with coaches at halftime or in timeouts. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what they're thinking. As long as they're thinking about football, then they're doing their job. And I could care less. I just want to watch the game. So I don't get mad if they show somebody else. I don't care if they show Taylor Swift. I don't care if they show Jay-Z, fucking the owners, former players. Who gives a fuck? If you're mad about that, it's because somebody told you to be mad about that, which makes you retarded. So, anyway, good game. So that's enough about the Super Bowl. Can't wait till next year. I'll be watching the Vikings fail next year. My dad will watch his Bears fail next year. My daughter loves Detroit, and she was supremely pissed that they lost when they got so close to the Super Bowl, that That was the reason she was voting for KC, was because she didn't want San Francisco to win because they beat her Lions. And I can respect that. So, what else is going on? I did read a news article. There was a comedian, a black comedian, who apparently had a bunch of his audience who were black get up and leave because he made a joke about George Floyd. Now, I want to preface this by saying that nobody tells me what's funny and what isn't. Whatever I laugh at is not because I programmed myself to laugh at it. It's what naturally makes me laugh. There's some people that I find funny and some people I don't. And it's just my opinion. What I won't do is tell somebody else, hey, you should think this person's funny, or you shouldn't think this person is funny based off of what they say and what their material's about. That's for you to fucking decide. And if you don't like something, don't watch it. Don't watch it. If you sit down and give a comedian a chance and you find that you don't like their material, or you don't like the fact that they work blue, or in my case, I don't like most comedians that don't work blue, because I want to hear some real world language and thoughts and feelings in a comedy act. If you're not cussing, you're a little too goody two-shoes for me. But that's just me. I understand people like Nate Bargatze and Jim Gaffigan. They work with mostly family-friendly material, and that's great. And they're wildly popular. Fucking A. Whatever makes you laugh. I don't watch them because I don't enjoy it. Gaffigan, there were a couple shows I did enjoy, but overall, I want a more raw, visceral, negative vibed comedy. That's what makes me laugh. Some of the shit that makes other people offended. So I would never force my comedy on somebody else. I may suggest to you, hey, you might like this, give it a chance, and if you don't, then you don't. If I go to a comedy club and I don't know the person and I've never heard their material before, I give them a fair chance. If I don't like them, I don't take it upon myself to voice my opinion at the comedy club during the fucking act. What kind of bullshit is that? How fucking entitled are you that you think because you're offended at something somebody said at a comedy show that everybody else needs to hear your opinion? Fuck off. Fuck the fuck off. I didn't pay to hear you. I didn't pay to hear your opinions. I didn't pay to hear what you're offended at. I didn't come to listen to you. I came to listen to the guy on stage or the girl on stage. If you don't like it, quietly get up and walk out if you're that fucking offended. Nobody else cares. And I don't care if 100 people get up and walk out. That's still not going to change my opinion on whether or not I think the guy's funny. And to be honest, I would not get up and walk out of a fucking comedy show in the middle of it anyways, because it's disrespectful. I paid my ticket. If we get halfway through and I'm still not enjoying it completely, I'm still going to sit it out, because that's just what a responsible adult does. You're a sissy. You're what we would call an old school fag, meaning a sissy. Okay? If that's the kind of stuff that makes you melt and cry because of something you heard at a comedy club, you shouldn't have been there to begin with. That's my opinion. And I wouldn't even say that to you at the comedy club if you were disruptive. I might get upset and I might talk to security and say, hey, I paid good money to listen to this person on stage. I didn't pay for this asshole to give his opinions during that performance. Could you do something about it? So, for the sake of everybody, if you don't like something, shut the fuck up. You can think it. I don't care what you think. You can be offended, but that doesn't mean you're entitled to anything. You are entitled to nothing. You paid money to see this person perform. If you don't like the performance, tough shit. That's the way life goes. That's what happens when you try something new. You're not always going to like it. I bite into a hamburger and it's got a pickle in it, and I said no pickles. I don't go into the place yelling and screaming and saying I'm going to boycott McDonald's because they put a pickle on my sandwich that I didn't want, and everybody else should hate this place because they put a pickle on my sandwich, therefore you shouldn't eat here. Like, grow the fuck up. Go back in and say, hey, you put a pickle on my sandwich, can I get a replacement? Nicely. Because they fucked up. It happens. And then you grab your good burger and go. It's hard enough for a person to get up on stage and perform, and I don't think they need the added insult or injury from people who get too drunk or are too entitled, who want to disrupt what they're trying to do for a living. That's bullshit. I don't like hecklers. Hecklers are pussies. Hecklers are chicken shit. That's what hecklers are. Shut the fuck up during a performance. Treat it the same way you would a movie theater. I would hope you would be more respectful in the movie theater and say, hey, just because the movie sucks and you don't like it, you get up and say, hey, this movie sucks. You guys all should leave because I think it's bad. Would you do that in a movie theater? No. Then don't do it at a fucking comedy show. Let the guy work his material out. If you don't like it, tough. I feel, I don't understand why people think they should be allowed to voice their opinion in public like that in a performance where everybody else has paid money to view that performance too. Keep your opinion to yourself. Go home when it's done and over with and write a fucking email to somebody crying about it. Anybody who heckles at a comedy show, you know what? You're a retarded faggot. You're a stupid sissy. That's what you are. Like I said, retarded for me doesn't mean mentally challenged people. Faggot has nothing to do with being gay. That's totally different for me. Faggot means you're a sissy. It's just got a little bit more stank on it. So I hope it hits a little harder for those people that are retarded faggots. What else? And another thing, I don't, like I said, I don't tell anybody what's funny, and I don't let anybody tell me what's funny. Same with, same with movies. If 100 critics come out and say this movie sucks, chances are I'm going to enjoy it, and I usually do, because I don't let somebody else tell me what's entertaining and what isn't. That's why I don't understand why people listen to movie critics for serious information. Half the time, the critic that goes to watch the movie isn't the target audience. So, of course, they're not going to get a really good review half the time, because it's not what they want to watch to begin with. And most critics, in my opinion, are just out to write outlandishly horrible shit about a movie just so they can get some press, some print time, some airtime, some clicks. I read these fucking word salads. They're using $5 euphemisms and $10 words in a 400, 500 word article that, and basically all it's saying is, yeah, I just wanted you to click on this. I went to see a movie. I was paid to see this movie, and I might have liked it secretly, but I'm not going to get any clicks by being nice, so I'm just going to shit all over it. I hate it. I hate critics. What else is going on? Trump is still in the news every day, all day. I wish that motherfucker would drop dead. Here's what's been hitting me as I drive around and I see signs. All the DeSantis signs are gone. But I still see some Haley signs up in yards. And what keeps popping into my mind is the people that were were pulling for DeSantis and pulling for Haley, and who still are pulling for Haley, they're probably the same people that voted for Trump the first time and possibly or probably the second time. And suddenly, it's like everybody grew a conscience. And this is their tepid way of trying to separate themselves from the fucking monster that they created by saying, well, I didn't vote for him this time, or I'm trying to move on. I'm supporting Haley now because I think she's the right person at the right time, or whatever horse shit you want to tell yourself so you can go, sleep at night. You don't get to separate yourself from Trump if you voted for him, especially if you voted for him twice. You guys knew what a fucking monster he was, what an evil prick, how bad he was for the country, how bad he still is for the country. You guys knew it. So those of you who are virtue signaling and trying to distance yourself by, because if he does win, it's going to be a total shit show. It's going to be a total shit show. And if by putting these signs in your yard for Haley or DeSantis or Ramaswamy or whoever the fuck, or whoever else is running, Asa Hutchinson, you don't get to try to remove that stain from your soul, okay? Because when it does go to shit and you say, well, I was pulling for Haley, I was pulling for DeSantis. Yeah, but you voted for Trump the first two times, you fucking idiots. And I'm not telling people who to vote for. I'm just giving my opinion on the quality of the candidates that you're supporting, and you had better not lie to yourselves about what reality is, because eventually they come for everybody. They may hate who you hate now and shit on the people you hate now, but eventually they'll get around to you and what you like and don't like, and then they will hate you and shit on you. Say what you want about Democrats, they're pretty fucking inclusive. Their policies are a lot more Christ-like than Republicans. And Trump is the most anti-religious quality figure I have ever seen in my life. I watch crime shows and court shows all the time. I've seen pedophile priests, and I still think Trump is worse. I was watching The Dead Zone the other night with my girlfriend. And those of you who haven't seen that movie, there's a character in The Dead Zone. It's a Stephen King book. It's got Christopher Walken in it, who's the main character, but there's a character in there played by Martin Sheen called Greg Stilson, and he's running for Senate, a politician. And that character matches Trump to a T. I recommend everybody watch The Dead Zone just to watch those brief scenes where Martin Sheen plays that character. He's playing Trump. Maybe not exactly, because, there's obviously some differences, but this movie was made, I think, in the 80s, and it hit Trump pretty on the nose as far as his character and his morals and his values. And my girlfriend even looked at me and said, God damn, that's a lot like Trump. I'm like, I know. At the end, you'll see the main character is trying to assassinate Martin Sheen, because he's on stage about to give a speech at a political rally, and he starts shooting at Martin Sheen, and his character grabs an infant, a baby, from a woman who's next to him on stage and holds the baby up in front of him as a shield so he doesn't get shot. That is Donald Trump. I promise you, that is Donald Trump. That's how I see him. Now, that doesn't mean I love Biden. I've said this many times, and I'm going to keep saying it. I didn't vote for Biden when he ran against Trump the first time because I thought he would do a great job. I voted for Biden because he wasn't Trump, because Trump is a fuck up. And he's the worst thing I've ever seen for this country since I was old enough to have my own opinions about politics, which was pretty early in high school. And because it's going to be Trump and Biden again, because honestly, I can't count on the fucking justice system and the Supreme Court to do their jobs properly and convict Trump in a timely fashion for all the fuckery he was involved in. I'm going to have to vote for Biden again. Not because I like Biden. At this point, Biden's so goddamn old. I don't even think he remembers his own name. I really don't. Yes, I think his administration is doing as well as it can. A lot of good things are happening, but that doesn't remove the fact that he's too old to be there. He should retire. He should step aside and let whoever the fuck we deem most qualified run for the Democratic primary. I don't care if it's Michelle Obama. I don't care if it's fucking Gavin Newsom. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be his vice president. What the fuck is her name? I'm drawing a complete blank. Kamala Harris. Yeah, Kamala Harris. I've listened to her talk enough and watched her. She does not. Biden doesn't know where he is because he's too old. Kamala doesn't know where she is because she's a fucking airhead. I don't care that she's the first black biracial vice president. Good for her. They won fair and square. I still don't think she's qualified to be president. But that's what we're stuck with. We're stuck with a geriatric or a retard. That's who the political system is giving us to choose from. Now, if that doesn't tell you that the American political system is fucking broken, I don't know what does. Like I said, if the Republicans could give me a qualified candidate who wasn't fucking insane, I would probably vote for them over Biden. But it would have to be a pretty moderate Republican. But I would still give it a thought. I can't give a thought to voting for Trump. I can't. He stands for too much evil, too much bass-ackwards bullshit. Him and his fucking lackeys trying to drag this country back into the fucking early 1900s. The only thing, and right now, I think there's more people thinking I would rather vote for the retard than the geriatric corpse. And that's also dangerous. I guess I can't fault them for it, but I would rather have somebody who's not quite there due to his age, who will listen to the people around him so that nothing gets too fucked up, rather than vote for the person who's not all there because he doesn't want to be. He lives in his own reality and wants all of you to join him, who's as evil as fuck, who's corrupt as fuck. He's a used car salesman in an off-the-rack suit that doesn't fit him. He's got the mentality of a fucking middle schooler. He's got the vocabulary of an early middle schooler. You can't put him in office. You can't. You shouldn't. Because he will not listen to the people around him who don't want the country to completely fucking fall apart from the bottom up. Or I'm sorry, from the top down. So I would rather vote for the person who isn't all there and it will at least listen to the people around him to try and keep the ship upright until hopefully 4 years from now, if we still have elections, because like I said, I'm convinced that if Trump wins, we probably won't. He will make himself a dictator. I know that sounds like hyperbole, but he tried to overthrow the government to stay in power the last time. What the fuck do you think will happen next time? Do you think he suddenly had a change of heart? His brain will suddenly fucking kick in? He'll suddenly start caring about other people other than himself? Fuck no, he's not. He never cared about anybody and he never will. He'd eat his own fucking children if he could. If it meant it kept him out of jail or kept him in power, he wouldn't fucking care. He would eat his children, your children. I can't vote for somebody like that. I just can't. And everybody who fucking encouraged him and egged him on and put him in the presidency to begin with, you don't get to fucking bail out now. Every senator who had the chance to convict his ass when he was impeached and decided not to, just because they knew he was a power block and they wanted to stay in power, so they were sucking the balls of Trump and his followers. It's on your heads. And I know you don't care. People say, they say things like, well, he's not going to be looked fondly of in the pages of history. Nobody fucking cares about how they're going to be viewed when they're dead. You think anybody right now gives a shit what the history pages are going to say about them after they're dead? Or hell, after they retire? They've got their money. They've got their power. You can't do anything to them. Oh, they didn't like me when I was working. They don't care. It doesn't change anything. So what if the history books don't speak fondly of you? It doesn't affect anything. That's why they don't care. They have no integrity. They have no souls. Who gives a fuck what the history books are going to say? They won't give a shit because they won't be here. Half of them think they're going to be in heaven, and the other half think there isn't a heaven, so they'll be dead anyways, and it won't matter. Who gives a fuck what history says about them? They don't care. So the only way to impress upon politicians the seriousness of their actions is by kicking them out of office, electing somebody else. Stop putting people in office who are fucking insane. Jesus fucking Christ, how hard is it? You really think the entire country is that fucking stupid? They're not. But they allow themselves to be led astray very, very easily. This country, unfortunately, we're very easy to scare. And that's how insane people get into office, because they say insane shit, and then people get afraid of that insane shit, and they say, well, put me in office and I won't let the insane shit happen. Whatever. Once you get into political office, your life is made. Whether or not the history books favor you after you're gone, they don't care. They care about power now. And there's enough stupid people that give it to them. Vote for who you want to. Just don't lie to yourself about it. I wish, and a lot of Trump supporters do believe in him and believe the shit he says and think like him and want him there because that's how they view the world. They are also insane. Do I think it's half the country? No, but still half the country will vote for a Republican just because he's Republican. Which, by the way, Trump is not a Republican. The Republican Party is dead. Trump is not a Republican. I don't know what the fuck he is. You can call them the magatards, whatever you want to call them. That is a completely separate party within the husk, the shell of the Republican Party. And until Trump is finally convicted and put in prison, or he loses this coming election, which I hope to God he does, so that he will go away. Until that happens, he is a major threat. And he's representing a party that has enough voters to put him back in office only because he's not a Democrat. Regardless of how insane he is. And I don't, like I said, I don't know how to fix it other than convince enough people to stop and personally reflect on their actual views. Like, are all cops bad? No. Are there a lot of bad cops? Yes. Do we need police reform? Yes. Does that mean you hate cops because you want police reform? No. Two things can be true. You can love cops and also want police reform because you can accept the fact, because you're intelligent, that there are bad cops that are fucking it up for the rest of them. And the less you hold them accountable, the more bad cops multiply. Do you support the troops? Yes. Do you support the wars that they have to get sent to? No. Both things can be true. I support the troops. I want them to be safe. You know how you keep the troops safe? You don't send them off to other parts of the world to fight for oil or for resources, because they're not ours. We use them as mercs, or they're paid muscle. What does it take to get people to understand you can be in the center and be right? You don't have to be one side or the other, regardless of how fucking stupid that one side could be. Do you approve of gay lifestyle? You might not. Does the gay lifestyle affect you? No, it does not. Both things can be true. I'm not gay. I would never be gay because I was not born that way. I am not attracted to men of any kind. I can see men as being attractive. I can tell when a man's handsome, beautiful. In an alternate universe, I've told my girlfriend I have gay hall passes. Keanu Reeves, Jason Statham, John Hamm. But it would never happen because I'm not like that. Can I support the gay movement and say they have the right to survive, to live, to thrive? Yes, they should have the same rights as everybody else because it doesn't affect my life. I don't not have sex with my girlfriend because I can't get a hard on because somewhere in the neighborhood there might be a gay guy fucking another gay guy in the ass. If that's your problem, that's your problem. It's nobody else's. You're retarded. Gay people are fine. They're not hurting anybody else. Gay people aren't pedophiles. There's plenty of straight pedophiles. Gay doesn't mean you like children. Gay means you were born being sexually excited by the same sex. Nobody chooses that. It's something that just is. I can accept that. Do you know why? Because I don't believe in fairy tales and invisible magicians who live in the sky who tell me that that's wrong. Fuck you. If there is a God, he created everybody and he created them the way they are. If he doesn't like it, tough shit. Nobody asked to be born. Nobody can tell me with a straight face, look me in the eye and say, yes, Before I was born, I was standing in the waiting line in heaven, waiting to get my body, and said, yeah, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to be gay, I want to be straight, I want to be African, I want to be American, I want to be European. None of that shit happened. Nobody asked to be born. Therefore, we owe nothing to anybody. What we have to do is survive and thrive and be contributing members to whatever society we're born in. And if we get to be the age that we can make decisions on our own and don't require the help of our parents, and decide that the society we were born in is not making me happy, I can go somewhere else, or I can help fix the problems in that society if I think that society needs that help, if it seems inherently evil. There's nothing wrong with wanting to fix something that's broken, even if just because it's better than somebody else's broken doesn't mean it still doesn't need to be fixed. And the fact that we're supposed to be the most tolerant, open, welcoming country, the best country to live in, and we still can't give all of our citizens equal rights. We withhold human rights from people because they don't fuck the people we think they should fuck, or think the way we think they should think, or like the things we think they should like. Fuck off. I cannot be gay and support a gay person's right to live and to be happy. Do I support transvestites? Yes. Would I want to cut my own dick off to become a female? No. Does it affect my life, what they do with theirs? No. I raised my child to make her own decisions. And she feels the same way I do. Everybody deserves to live. Everybody deserves to be happy. We shouldn't be living our lives based off of God, Zeus, fucking Harry Potter, the Jedi, the Sith, any of that stupid horseshit. It's all make-believe. It's all make-believe. Sometimes this country sucks because we can't fucking get off of this. You got to do what I think you have to do because my God said you had to do it. Fuck off out of here. There's got to be more people like me. There's got to be more people that can say to themselves, gay marriage doesn't destroy the American family. When I proposed to my girlfriend, gay people are going to have nothing to do with that decision. Why is that so hard for other people? Why can't you look at your marriage and your family and say, gosh, I'm happy. Everything's going great. My kids love me. I love my kids. I love my wife. She loves me. But I just can't get complete fulfillment out of it because I know somewhere there's a gay guy married to another gay guy and they're having gay sex. Oh, you should probably eat a bullet. We don't need you. We don't need you. Your kids will be better off without you because you're a hateful, evil fuck. And you're delusional because you believe in horseshit religions. Religion is a crutch for people that can't accept the fact that one day they're going to die. And you should enjoy the time you have here. Enjoy yourselves. Because this is the only one you get. There is no afterlife. The rest of us want to live our lives the way we want to live our lives. And as long as it's not hurting anybody else, there shouldn't be a problem. Gay people are not hurting anybody else. Transsexuals are not hurting anybody else. They're human, and on an individual basis, you can judge them off of how they act or how they think, if that's what you want to do. But I got news for you. Just because one gay person does something bad does not mean all gay people are going to do something bad. Just like the prisons in this country are filled with white people, not all white people are bad. They're filled with straight people, not all straight people are bad. So come off of your fucking high horse. Stop playing left or right and start placing yourself in the middle and saying, yes, there can be two things true at the same time about a subject. Abortion, same thing. There needs to be a compromise. You can't regulate a woman's body. You cannot force her to carry a child if she doesn't want to. You don't have to go through the 9 months of torture and pain and agony and the birthing process that woman has to go through. She should get to make that decision. Having said that, should there be a cutoff point where we say you've had enough time to contemplate the fact that you're pregnant and that you want to have the child or not, and then say, okay, after this time frame, you're going to have the baby because it is developed enough to be considered an actual baby and not a cluster of fucking cells? Yes, two things can be true. I don't fucking get it. I don't understand why people are so intolerant and so incapable of understanding and empathy. We need to come together. We need to get off of this fucking left and right ride. You can stop being retarded. Being retarded is a choice. And there's people on the right that are bad. And there are people on the left who are bad. I lean progressive, liberal, Democrat. Do I think everything they do is right and just? No. They can be just as evil as the right from a different direction. It's not that hard for me to understand. I don't need to be on a winning team. We should be team people. We should be team America, not team Democrat or team Republican. Fuck. It's starting to get old. Democrats spend more time bitching about useless shit than what's really important at the time. Deal with the important shit first and then worry about, your little side projects later. Like whether or not we should be forcing schools to acknowledge pronoun identities. Let's pump the brakes on that for a little bit and fix the more important shit, like cops murdering people and people murdering people and corrupt politicians, politicians trying to overthrow the fucking government. Let's worry about that stuff first and then slowly drag along the social issues and evolution. There are some changes that are happening in our society that are happening too fast for the people that don't agree with it to adjust their thinking. Okay? If you're brought up in the South, more than likely you're religious, you think gays are evil and demonic, you're pro-life, and you might be racist, just saying. A lot of that shit's inbred in them, and it's going to take some time. So you got to work with the younger generation to help them teach the older generations. You're not going to change the older generations. You're just not. Not en masse. Okay? You won't change enough of them in time for it to matter in their lives. So they're going to simply exist for the rest of their lives, making everybody else's existence suck. Social issues, social injustices are not going to be corrected overnight. You can keep working on them, but don't focus entirely on them. They cannot monopolize your time. Okay? We need to tax the rich. We need to make sure Medicare and Medicaid don't get cut, and in fact needs to be supplemented with better laws with those taxes that you're going to be getting from the rich. Make sure Social Security is solvent. Push for police reform. Get us out of fucking wars and keep us out of wars. Protect our allies, but not at the expense of them committing genocide. Work on that shit first. When you're in power, then you can start pushing some of the social issues. And for those of you who are unhappy about social evolution because it's change and you don't like change, we don't give a fuck. We're not taking rights away from you. As much as the right bitches about the rights that we're going to take from people, we're not taking rights. We're not taking away a woman's choice of what she does with her body. We're not banning fucking books. We're not banning gay people from being able to get married. We're not doing the banning. We're not taking away rights. We're trying to install them so that they're permanent, so that everybody has those rights. It's the right that are keeping people from getting married, banning books, taking away a woman's reproductive freedom choice. We're not doing it. Republicans are. And they're the ones that cry the loudest about rights being taken away. Just because two gay people get married doesn't take away your right to be religious, to not like gays, to choose not to have gay sex. Okay? If you don't like dicks, don't suck dicks. It's that simple. I know that's a weird note to leave it on, but I'm running out of battery on my camcorder. So, next time I do a podcast, I'll expound on that a little bit further. I know I sound divisive a lot of the time, but it comes from a place of wanting to unite people into a central area so we can fix shit properly. I make fun of retarded people, but I'm doing it so that they understand that what they're thinking and how they're thinking may need to be adjusted a little bit. You don't have to let people tell you what to think. If you can look at me in the face and honestly say, I came to these decisions and these conclusions on my own without outside interference of somebody telling me what to be afraid of, then we can have an honest and open debate. But if you're making your decisions based off of what somebody's telling you to be afraid of and how things might go south, you've got a problem and you need help. So, anyway, I love you all. I thank you for your time. I'm going to start putting some videos out on TikTok about individual articles I read in the news. I think that's a better place to do those because then I can, devote my 9 to 10 minutes of video time on one subject. That way I don't stray too much. Maybe I'll get a little more exposure because right now nobody's watching this podcast, and I don't blame them. I'm not handsome. I'm not funny half the time, but I do have some pretty good thoughts, I think. And eventually, maybe down the road, I'll pick up on notoriety and get some other people to think like me, to want to accept change, be proactive, be kind to one another. Yeah, that's all I got right now. So this has been the NyteTime podcast. I'm Matt Higgins, your host. Peace, love, and gossip. Everybody have a great week.